had this one for a few years now. I picked it up for 20 bucks back then, and that was quite cheap at the time, considering that the CRT still had a fair bit of value to them. The reason it was that price is because it has a fault. It doesn't produce any sound. That suited me fine, as I always connect all my consoles and gear up to the stereo directly anyway. The one reason that I wanted it, and it's the first TV that I had of this type, is because it had a VGA connection in it. And the VGA connector, the D-Sub15, is at the front alongside the composite and S-video inputs. You can see the plug there. I'm actually using the Dreamcast right now. There's the cable going to the Dreamcast VGA box over there. I'll show you that. There you go, put it back in. Panasonic were early adopters of VGA input into their TVs. First time I discovered it was when I picked up this catalogue, Panasonic catalogue. I don't remember the year. It might have been 1998 or 1999. This is about the time when CRTs, when they all started going to true flat screens and also abandoning the black cases of old and going for the silver grey style as you see in front of you. This catalogue has a 80cm and a 68cm TV in it that feature the VGA input. The model I'm showing you now is actually a bit newer than the ones in the catalogue. Its model number is TX80P300A. It's an 80cm 4:3 aspect ratio. There's also a 68cm version of the TV as well. There's one other little fault that I think this TV came with as well. It's done it as long as I've owned it, and I can zoom in and I can show you that. You can see the edges of the white there just sort of wriggling around a bit. You can't really notice it from far away, but it's definitely something wrong. Probably a component that's worn out or two on the chassis, and it causes that wobbling, that fine movement on the edges there. Bit of a bummer, that one. Also, the geometry is not real good. You can see the bottom left corner, it's close to the bottom, but then it expands to be further away from bottom of screen. It's a bit warped up the side there too, and it's quite bowed on top. I won't dwell on that too much. I've never actually done any service menu adjustments. Didn't really know about that sort of thing back then, and I've just had it in storage ever since. Thought I'd dig it out and give it a go. Put the Dreamcast on. I'll put on some other software to have a look at. So Gunlord's on now. My first observation is that with your lower res games, they do appear to be rather pixelated on the VGA display, much like if you put it on a true VGA computer monitor. You find these low res games do get quite pixelated in appearance. I would opt to go for a good old RGB, SCART RGB for these low res games. They don't look quite as square on the edges, and it looks a bit sort of more smooth and round off, a bit more natural. So we'll try a higher res game and see what that looks like. Now I've got Soul Calibur on, going up res a bit here. It doesn't look too bad. It's not pixelated like the low res stuff is. It's nothing unbelievable. The other thing worth mentioning about the Panasonic here is that it also has a couple of component inputs in the back, and it does support progressive scan. There's not a lot of TVs that have 4:3 aspect ratio and also support VGA. Some of the German brands do. There's some Lervers and Metz and Grundig out there do, and there's some other obscure brands as well. For me, This TV is somewhat of suitable for the Dreamcast, but I'm not going to put just one TV into my setup that's for one console, if you know what I mean. You're going to have the CRTs take up a lot of room. I don't really need to put another one in there just for the Dreamcast. I'm happy to run RGB on the Dreamcast, or I can even go into the plasma that I've now got. And the other factor you've got to consider with the Dreamcast is the VGA support. Not every game supports it. You may be able to patch them, but it's a bit of an effort. I haven't sussed it fully out yet. Same case with RGB. Not every game supports it. It's quite annoying that Sega didn't really just make it compulsory for everything to be RGB and VGA, then there'd be no issue at all. One other thing I thought about with this TV, or any like this, any of these 4:3 aspect ratio VGA TVs, they could make good donors for arcade machines. The 80cm one here might be a bit big for most machines. That's about 32 inches, I think, in equivalence. You could put it into an arcade cabinet, something that you could run it with the Naomi or the Cheerio or anything that's of a VGA standard, or even get the 68cm version. You might find that that'll fit better into your arcade cabinets. Just bear in mind though that the chassis inside this TV is quite big. It's a very big chassis, and it'll take a lot of room up in an arcade cabinet. I think off the top of my head the chassis is named Euro 7. Even though it's got a name like Euro 7, it doesn't have any SCARTs in the back. So don't go out of your way to get this one, but just bearing in mind, if you do have a use for a big VGA screen, this could suit your needs. Don't think that you're going to get PC monitor quality on a TV. I haven't seen any yet that can do that, but I'm on the watch for any out there that might. Well, it's about time we wrap this one up, so I'll see you guys later.